The first step is to download the program called DsHidMini, which makes it all happen. You can download it from the link in the description. Once you're on the download page, scroll down a little bit and download the latest version of the program. Version 2.2.282 is the latest version at the time of recording this video, which is the one I would prefer you get because I have tested it myself and I know it works. But when people watch these videos down the line, the program gets updated and a new version comes out, and they usually download the latest version of that time frame. And the new version sometimes introduces new bugs and problems, which ends up people facing problems, and then they write really messed up comments under videos. Please people, have some understanding while doing this stuff. So, to download this, simply click on it and save it anywhere on your computer. I'm using the IDM program to download these files, so the download window will look different from mine. Since the program comes as a zip file, you will need an archiving program to extract it. If you don't have an archiving program, search Google for either WinRAR or 7-zip and then download and install either of these programs. Once installed, come back here and right-click on the file, select the program you downloaded, and the file will open inside the program. Here, look for the extract option like we have one here. Click on it and then choose the location where you want the emulator to be extracted. I will choose my computer's C drive since I have only one partition. Make sure you create a new folder by clicking this new folder button, and it will be named automatically, and then press OK. Now that the program is extracted, we can now close the WinRAR program and delete all the installation files because we don't need them anymore. After this, just navigate to the folder where you extracted the program. Here, you will see the main application along with two folders. Now, if you're running a 32-bit system, which is very rare nowadays, you will go inside the x86 folder. Simply put, if your computer dates back before 2003, which is literally impossible in this day and age in the first place, even so, what could you possibly achieve by connecting your controller to such an ancient artifact? So, x64 is the way to go. Inside, you will find another folder named DsHidMini. Go inside this and you will find multiple files. Here, look for these two files with setup information as file types. The first one is DsHidMini. Once you find it, go ahead and right-click on it and then click Install. And if it prompts you with a confirmation or something, accept all of them. Now you do the same to the second file named IGFilter and you're good to go. After this, head back to the main folder, grab your DualShock 3 controller and connect it to your computer using a USB cable. The LEDs on the controller should start flashing as such. Once it does, we'll then go ahead and launch the program. Over here, it shows you the PlayStation 3 controller connected. This logo here resembles USB, which means the controller is connected via a USB cable, as we know. We can also connect it using Bluetooth, but more on that later. Now, if by any chance your controller is not showing up or it's not even connecting, in which case the lights don't flash at all, make sure the controller is charged and the cable is properly connected. And you're not using a faulty cable, of course. If all of these things are fine but you still do not see the lights flashing, I'm afraid you might have a dead controller. Now coming back here, click on this one and it will show you all the information about your controller. There are also settings like different device modes and other settings, but you will not be able to change anything unless you run this application as administrator. So if you want to make any changes to these settings, you will just simply close it and then right-click on the application and run it as administrator. And now you can go ahead and change any settings you desire. Over here, you can see the device mode is set as X input, which is the input method for the Xbox controllers. In other words, it is detecting the controller as an Xbox controller instead of the PlayStation 3 controller, so this is how the software makes the DualShock 3 compatible with Windows. There are also other device modes like Steam and RPCS3, These are dedicated profiles for these programs, but during my testing, I've noticed that you don't even need to switch to these profiles at all, because most of the programs like RPCS3, Steam, or even different emulators, the X input mode works with all of them. As far as I've tested, there might be some exceptions here and there, but mostly it works with everything. But if you want to use it with like DS4 Windows to remap your controller or something, then that's a different question. You can do that. Next, we head over to settings. Here, you can enable this logging feature if you're facing any issues to know exactly what's going on. Alright, let's say everything went great and your controller is technically connected and it shows up here. How would you know that if it's working properly or not? Well, for that, we'll head over to Windows Search and type Setup USB Game Controllers, and it should appear like this. Just click on it, and over here, we'll see two different options: Xbox 360 for Windows and DS3 compatible HID device. So you will select the DS3 compatible HID device and hit Properties. Here you will see different button inputs. Now what you need to do is to test all the buttons on your controller, and if the inputs are registered like you see here, you're good to go. You can just launch whatever game or program you want to use with the controller and enjoy. But the only catch is your controller is married to your computer because of that wired connection. For those of you who want to free it from that anomaly, keep watching, because now it's time I show you how to connect your controller wirelessly. But before that, I would like to give you a little disclaimer. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you would know that I had already covered this topic previously on this channel, and that video follows a different procedure of connecting a DualShock 3 to a PC than this one. The reason I'm telling you this is that the methods of connecting a DualShock 3 controller to a Windows computer are not really consistent. For some people, one method might work and other might not. And if for some reason this method didn't work for you, don't lose hope and try out the other method by clicking here. You can also find this link in the description. I would also like to add that I have had a significant amount of hate on the previous video, with the worst being people calling me a scammer simply because it didn't work for their system. Be realistic, people. The reason it doesn't work for everyone is because every Windows machine is unique. They come from tons of different manufacturers like Dell, HP, Asus, etc. And different manufacturers get their parts from different sources, which ends up with some computers having better parts in terms of compatibility and others not so much. Plus, the nature of these methods is not really official, more like an open source hack which makes the Windows think it's an Xbox controller. That's why you should take it with a grain of salt, knowing that it might not work for everyone. Plus, people don't really follow the video properly and then they complain. So I request you people, please follow this video properly, watch it all the way through, and be patient. Alright, to set up the DualShock 3 wirelessly, we'll head over to settings, and here in this section, you will see two different buttons. We'll click on the first one which says Download DsHidMini PS3. This will lead us to a kind of a similar looking GitHub page as before. From here, you will just scroll down a bit and download this second one which says DsHidMini PS3 Setup x64.msi. Not the ARM64 one, the x64 one. Now, go ahead and install this by going through the regular installation process. Now it'll prompt you to restart your computer. This is very important because I have noticed if you don't restart your computer after installing this software, it simply refuses to work, so make sure you restart your computer and then proceed. So after you restart the computer and launch the software again, you will see your controller is still connected via the USB like before. Just make sure not to disconnect your controller during this whole process. You want it to be plugged in all the time. Alright, to connect your controller wirelessly, all you need to do now is to just disconnect the cable and the lights will flash rapidly for a moment, and when one of the lights becomes solid, this means the wireless connection was successful and great. It's ready to go. Your controller is not married anymore. But keep in mind, this will be possible only if your computer has a Bluetooth receiver. If you're not sure, then you can use a program like Specky, the link's in the description, to find out if your computer has an inbuilt Bluetooth adapter. If unfortunately it does not, there's nothing to worry about. You can buy one online. They come pretty cheap. I will drop a buying link in the description below. Now, after you do this, you can see the symbol here has now changed from USB to the Bluetooth, which means the connection is via Bluetooth now. So to test it out, we'll head back to the setup USB game controllers again. And here we go. It's working just as expected.